wanted to introduce Robert. Hi, Robert, and me, Terro. If you could share your screen and start your presentation. Now, Robert, people have, Mimi said to me earlier that she has seen you 10 times in the last, I don't know,
yeah.
little while. So welcome to the IGNITE22 challenge. We're really looking forward to this too.
Absolutely. Are you tired of sending your food waste to landfill and polluting our environment? Well, I am. Hello, my name is Robert Luo. I'm the founder and CEO of Terro. When I visited my uncle's dairy farm in China back in 2018, I was shocked to see buckets and buckets of spoiled milk. My uncle was really frustrated, and he asked me to help him find a solution. That was when I first investigated the impact of food waste to our climate. In fact, 40% of the food that we produce around the world goes to waste every single year. Amongst that, 128 million tons of milk are being dumped. All these food waste will create 3.3 billion tons of greenhouse gases. Just imagine 37 million cars driving on the road at the same time. How can we solve a global problem that has lasted for centuries with a viable and affordable solution? Well, that is when my company, Terro, came up with an innovative technology that re-engineers milk waste into biodegradable fiber that can be used to replace plastic. We're literally taking a world problem and turning it into a world solution. How do we do it? The first technology requires 2 steps. Both are patent pending. Step 1 is called protein activation, in which we extract these bacteria-grown milk protein from expired, spoiled, or sour milk. Once we have the milk protein, we go through our second step, which is called self-assembly purification, in which we remove the bacteria and other unwanted substances to extract and purify the protein. I like to mention that in this step, our technology can potentially apply to any type of protein-based food waste, not just dairy product, but also plant and cell-based products. Then we go to our second technology, in which separates the 2 different types of protein inside of milk, casein and whey. We spin casein protein through dynamic flow shear spinning into the fiber that I'm holding up right here. This fiber can be made into apparel, like the t-shirt I'm wearing, face masks, bed sheets, and other textile applications. We press whey protein, which is the byproduct of yogurt and cheese production, into food packaging film. And this is a prototype that we created that can potentially replace plastic packaging. Our fiber is skin-friendly, allergen-free, and is 100% biodegradable and requires 60% less water than organic cotton. On the better side for the business, it costs cheaper than organic cotton and model. As for our packaging film, it's also biodegradable, edible, and non-toxic. We're helping cheese and yogurt manufacturers to reduce their whey waste and turn it into a solution that is great for their own product packaging to replace plastic packaging. We begin with a B2C approach by selling our own milk shirt, starting in June 2019. Then we decided to make a pivot from B2C to B2B in February of 2020 by supplying our technology and raw material to other companies. Once we understand our customer and the market better, we will license our technology. Our technology could potentially have impact with the price of one with 3 industries: textile, packaging, and food waste industries. We are partnering with Dairy Farmers of America, which is the biggest raw milk supplier in the world, to launch our pilot site in their Minneapolis plant. My family has 30 years experience in supply chain management, so that actually passed down to me when I launched my business. We have several technologies that are ready to be granted with patents, and we develop everything in-house. We also have the opportunity to join SG Food Bowl in Singapore by Egg Wonder, in which we'll be working with Dole, the banana and pineapple company, to continue developing and commercializing our whey packaging film. Since we pivot from B2C to B2B, we have attracted clients and interest from several well-recognized companies. For example, 2 Japanese companies, Toyoshima and Harada, have reached out to us and given us early commitments to purchase our fiber once it's ready in the beginning of 2021. Like what I mentioned, we'll be working with Dole to develop and commercialize our packaging film. We have also received early commitments from Arye to purchase 10,000 meters of our film for each of their cheese and yogurt product once it's ready in 2022. We have a team that generates results. I have started 3 companies with 2 successful acquisitions. We have a team of PhD material scientists, chemists, and marketing experts. As for our plan, we want to continue innovating and show that our technology can apply to any type of protein-based food waste, not just milk or dairy products. We will launch and start supplying our milk fiber in the beginning of 2021 and start supplying our packaged film in the beginning of 2022. Thanks to our innovative technology, food waste doesn't have to go to landfill anymore. Are you ready to join me, Terro, and build a sustainable future where food waste can replace plastic? Because we are ready. Welcome to the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you very much. To questions now. Lucas, do you have a question for Robert, please?
Come back to me. I still have a couple thoughts for
All right, Arye, do you have a question?
Sure, yeah. Great work. That's really interesting stuff. I'm curious, can you just tell me more about why there's so much milk waste products in these different processes and kind of just what that looks like? I'm just trying to understand the actual dynamics, whether you're at a dairy or a yogurt plant or what's going on. Is this stuff just spoiling? Where's all this waste coming from?
Right. So there are several reasons for all these waste. Some are byproduct of yogurt and cheese production. Other ones are just happens when the cows become sick and their milk has antibiotics, so it cannot be consumed. For example, with DFA and their partner camps in their Minneapolis site, every year they have 700,000 gallons of milk waste. And with their site in Cedarburg, they process over 400 million milks per year. And with just 1% that is considered as bad milk, that'll be 4 million gallons of bad milk. And we are utilizing this as our initial approach to develop the technology. But once we perfect it, it doesn't have to be dairy waste anymore. It can be any type. We're also trial and testing with soy because we know there are a lot of soy waste as well.
And what happens to this waste today?
Yeah, there are several ways. First is to turn it into biofuel. Second is to send as the feedstock. But with the new the USDA regulation, it's harder for these processors to send the food waste to feed livestock anymore. So they're looking for new ways to dispose all these waste.
Okay, and I guess in theory, you're going to pay more money for their waste than they would get paid for biofuel or something else?
We're actually not paying them. We're launching a joint venture with DFA and camps in Minneapolis site, in which we're supplying our technology and co-locate in their site. So even if we have to pay them, it's still very, very low cost. It will not make a huge difference to our cost of goods sold.
Got it. The last thing I want to ask is just about kind of like storage and logistics, because obviously you can't necessarily just collect this stuff and leave it in tanks for weeks or months. There's probably some logistical challenges, I'm assuming, with things spoiling and whatnot. How do you think about that issue?
Right. We actually did a very thorough logistic calculation yesterday, and I have this data in front of me. So with the outbound transportation, for every mile, we're paying about 13 cents. And with inbounds, which we already considered, plus the raw material, it costs about $1 to $1.10 for it per kilogram. So it's not a huge amount. And that's why it makes us very compatible compared to organic cotton.
Okay. Mimi, do you have a question?
Nice
I've had the pleasure of seeing you a few times. So, you know, I would love to hear more about your LOIs and how you're going to scale that moving forward. What's your revenue projection for this coming year?
Great question. Yes. So the first initial market that we will focus on will be a more premium, perhaps baby product, where most of the raw material are organic cotton and you don't see anything else. And we project our costs will be lower than organic cotton. Organic cotton costs about $5 to $10 per kilogram, whereas our material costs about $5 to $8. And the LIs that we sign are focusing in this area. For example, Toyoshima and Harada, which are two very big Japanese trading and textile companies, they already give us early commitments to purchase our fiber once it's ready in 2021. We're in fact participating in Harvard's accelerator right now. So with the marketing team to push this product to the market as soon as possible.
So organic cotton has certification. Is there a certification process that you need to go to? And what are the costs associated with that?
There's not a specific certification for the baby product as for the fiber. But if you made into fabric or you have dyed, then there is a stricter certification or requirements.
And that's not in your purview, that's the manufacturers.
That is the manufacturers.
Lucas, coming back to you.
So maybe, I guess, still part of my question. It was around LOIs. Like, how has COVID affected some of the LOIs we're looking next year? I feel like consumption on a lot of the stuff that we're looking at is down. So what conversations have you had with the current LOIs that you have, your sales pipeline? Like, what is it specific? Like, how have you been impacted and how have you made adjustments towards it?
Yeah, well, COVID-19 has actually given us a lift during the time where we have been a lot of conversation with overseas companies, like the two I mentioned in Japan, Toyoshima and Harada. They're looking for new innovative and sustainable materials while turning the milk waste that they have perhaps in Japan into the fiber that they can use locally. So I think the situation have helped us to grow our business where 2.5 to 3 million tons of milk are being dumped in the US every single day, according to DFA. So it's a huge number, and numbers project to increase all around the world.
All right. Thank you, Robert.